so fortunate to be able to work together. We have a great relationship, and I work more with the lower grades, kindergarten through second. Kathy works more with third through fifth.
In terms of the experience that we had as far as our masters and being trained in different programs, we had information that helped us be consultants to teachers in terms of providing strategies, in terms of what would be next steps for students, given that they have this sort of problem. But in terms of coaching people to have them be able to bring out what their knowledge is, to really attend to what they were doing in the classroom with the students, and have that really high level of awareness of how my instruction impacts how my students are learning, that really came more into our consciousness when we did the work with you. Because we really didn't have that before.
No.
In the past, it's been everyone's been in their room, doors are closed, and you do your own thing. This is asking teachers to open up our rooms. Let's be learners together. Let's learn from each other, because that provides sustainability at the school. Kathy started working with you, and it was during the time when we were Reading First School, and I was lucky enough to join in and be able to participate, even though we were not Reading First specifically in 4th and 5th grade in terms of funding. I was able to take that piece to 4th and 5th grade, and it's made a tremendous impact on our teachers in terms of how they were approaching planning, as well as how they were really listening to their students and making those very effective decisions for very powerful instruction.
You really focused us in on what collaborative coaching looks like. That is, I think, the key piece, is that collaborative piece that you brought into our world that has impacted us.
Yeah.
If you went into almost any classroom in this school and I did this, the kids would all go, oh, teacher talk. You know, it's time for the teachers to talk. That has just become a part of our culture now. And that wasn't something that we did before. So when I talk about collaborative, it's knowing that I have permission as a coach not to just either be demonstrating or observing, but really to be part of the teaching as it happens. And to say to that teacher, whether I'm doing the teaching or she's doing the teaching, let's listen in. Let's monitor what the kids are doing and saying. And then let's talk about, how do you think it's going? Do we need to back up? Do we need to do some reteaching there? Do the majority of the kids have it? If not, what is it we can do to now help them get this particular concept before we go on? We call it teaching in the moment. I'm not sure where that came from, but anyway, that's what we call it here, teaching in the moment. So it's this kind of like moment by moment, really monitoring how we're doing and how the students are doing.
It's been powerful to be able to sit down with a teacher, go through that lesson, and have specific places where we really do want to stop and talk to each other about, what do we hear the students saying? What do we see the students doing? What does that mean? What next steps are we going to take? When I go in and model a lesson, demonstrate a lesson, when I'm noticing something in the students that I can just easily turn and talk to the teacher and say, this is telling me that the students are at this point, or right now I wouldn't continue with the lesson the way I planned it. I'm going to back up because I'm not hearing that they really have this piece. So I'm going to try that again. So it's become part of my coaching or modeling piece.
What Kathy's been talking about so much is that active student monitoring. And that is just, I knew it was important, but when we started into this process, that became crystal clear to me. How important it is to get out, listen to the kids, and make instructional decisions based on what we're hearing. And we can't make good instructional decisions unless we are listening to our children. And so that has also been something that we have really worked on here.
Absolutely. And another going along with that is corrective feedback.
The immediate corrective feedback.
And that corrective feedback that really is meaningful.
Right.
It's not just saying, oh, good work, buddy. It's really letting the student know something specific about the task that they're attending to. asking a question, providing some support right there is so powerful, and is again part of that tier 1 for RTI.
We've got some teachers who really think they're monitoring their students, but they are going through the classroom and saying, "Good job, buddy. Oh yeah, no, okay, stay on task." Those kinds of things, but they're not. As I go behind, I'm like, "He didn't even do that right. Well, that's wrong." There's no corrective feedback. So then as a coach, all right, now what I need to do is, at a surface level, they understand monitoring. Now I have to teach them to go deeper and really monitor what their kids are doing, not just give them an attaboy.
Just last year, because of the budget cuts, we had 25% of our staff removed.
Yes.
And new people coming in to a place that they didn't really want to be at.
Yeah, it wasn't their choice.
It wasn't their choice. But what's really important is to really back up the process and start back at square one in order to bring people on board. And I think last year we didn't do such a good job with that.
And it caused frustration.
Yeah.
And of course, this is education. We're always kind of shifting.
Yeah. We didn't step back and take some time to really even just go through some vocabulary. What do we mean by structured student engagement? What do we mean by active monitoring? What do we mean by coaching? Is taking time to really sit back and talk to the new teachers especially about that vocabulary, about the work that we've done here, provide them with a basic foundation so that then we can start moving forward in the work that we had already started. It really takes lots and lots and lots of practice and lots of opportunities. 10 years, in fact, to reach that level of mastery.
Because we do see that some people have gone back to what feels comfortable for them. And if we go in and we remind them, they're like, "Oh yeah, that's right." And they'll start doing it again. But you can tell it was not really quite internalized, and they tend to sometimes fall back. So that's another challenge.
If you came in about 4 or 5 times within a year, so some people may think, well, that's enough, but it's not. It's not. There needs to be continued practice. There needs to be a way for us to be accountable. This should really be across the board. And it should just be district policy because it's so impactful. There's one grade level in particular at our school that does a phenomenal job of doing this collaborative teaching. And in the goals that they set for every test that they give to their students, they set these goals throughout the year and they consistently meet those goals. And it's all about being collaborative, and there's constant communication. And I'm not talking about once a month. I'm talking about daily.
And we're not talking about field trips.
Exactly.
We're talking about student learning, and we're going back and talking about that lesson design also.
They go into each other's classrooms and, help support each other in that way. It's just been a real cultural shift. And if we could get the entire school to be within that shift, I think we would see just amazing results in our CST scores.
What you see when you go into classrooms where teachers are embracing this concept of student empowerment is you see that motivation. It just permeates throughout the classroom. You walk in, you feel it. This is not a teacher standing up and just delivering a message and the kids are just sitting there really just receiving it and there's nothing else. There's just a sense of we're a family, we're in this together, we're learning together, and those are the classrooms where we generally see the best test results.
I think it needs to be district policy.
Yeah.
That it is every school needs to be able to have this approach to student learning, to teacher learning. So.
Yeah. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.